Welcome back to Talk the Talk. Here we have author Donna Bear.
Welcome. We were going to start out talking about your childhood and your interests. What were your interests as a child?
Well, when I was young, I did enjoy writing. That was something that was a lot of fun for me. I enjoyed creating worlds and trying to write persuasively and emotionally. And then I got to junior high and high school, and all of a sudden I was forced to write about things I didn't like or didn't care about or that didn't interest me. And so in junior high and high school, I stopped writing. I didn't want anything to do with it. In fact, I disliked writing so much that when I went to college, I chose biology as my major because I knew I wouldn't have to write any papers. And so I went all through college. I studied biology and chemistry and physics and calculus and got a science degree because I hated writing, which is ironic because now that is what I do a lot of.
Great motivation.
Right. So yes, if you're in high school and you find that you dislike writing, it might be that you dislike what you have to write about. And you might get to a point in your life where you really think you have something to say, and then you might discover that there's a muse inside of you. There might be a writer in there.
Oh, cool.
So really you were like a big fan of creative writing, basically?
I enjoyed that very much. It was sort of a creative outlet. It was sort of fun to play with words and to create imaginary scenes, or even to write poems that would kind of create an emotional sense. I thought that was a lot of fun until junior high.
Forced to write things you don't like.
Right, who wants to write about Wuthering Heights? Nobody.
What were some people that influenced you, like professors, parent, anyone?
Well, many of the books I write, some of my books are about family and about family life. So of course my parents were a huge influence, and my parents are funny Irish people. They have a great sense of humor, a great work ethic, but they know how to laugh about the hard parts of life. And they taught me a lot about getting through trouble by having a good sense of humor and just dropping my shoulder and getting to work. And so a lot of what I write comes from what they taught me, not through sitting down and, going through a book, but just living life. So they taught me a lot about the content of the books that I wrote. And then I had one teacher in high school who taught me how to write well, and I hated him. He was the hardest teacher I ever had, Mr. Thomas, and he insisted on perfection. And he would have us write and write and write. We'd have an essay a week due, and if they weren't perfect, we'd have to rewrite them. If they had a misspelling, he would fail us. I was not used to failing papers, but he would fail me over and over again, and he would do something that I don't know if teachers still do, but if you wrote a particularly bad paper, he would read it to the whole class.
Oh, gosh.
Highlighting your misspellings. And I hated that class, and I hated writing, but he did turn me into a good writer. I no longer misplace modifiers, and I don't mix tenses. He was a good teacher in that sense. So I appreciate him, and I'm grateful for what he taught me, but I did not enjoy the experience.
Having to rewrite one paper just because of one misplacement.
Oh,
Yes. It was, yes. And that was before the day of Word and word processors and computers, so it was all
And
handwritten.
spell check.
And that was way before spell check. Our spell check was called a dictionary.
Could you tell us about the publishing process?
Well, sure. Well, my books are self-published, and I chose to be self-published. I had some contacts in the publishing world, but publishing has changed. Publishing books has changed, especially now with so much available online and so many other options and people not choosing to buy physical books very much anymore. The publishing world has changed, and so if you are published with a traditional publisher, that publisher really expects you to do all your own marketing, all your own sales, all your own publicity, and take most of the profit. So I thought, what's wrong with this picture? I thought, let me publish it myself. I'm going to do the publicity and the marketing and the promotion, but I'll keep most of the royalties for myself. And so I chose self-publishing But that was a steep learning curve to move up. And I was a mom home with little babies. I didn't know much about how the publishing world worked. But there are a lot of great resources online, and I taught myself how to write a book, how to edit a book, how to publish it, how to create a cover. So I learned how to do it myself. But there are great resources online for learning those things. And that's the great thing about the education you guys are getting. Right? You're not just learning content, you're learning how to learn. And so if you want to know how to do something, you can figure it out. Nobody has to sit down and teach you. You figure it out yourself.
Yeah, and the fact that you did that, you must be very fulfilling and very independent,
It is. Yeah. It's a great feeling at the end of the day to see you have a finished work product. Of course, if you're a writer, or probably you guys would appreciate it, you're your own harshest critic. Yes. And so no matter what you produce, no matter if it's a basketball game you're playing or a television show you're creating, you're going to look at it and you'll be the harshest critic there is. But that's good. That's how we get better. It's better than having your paper read out loud in front of your whole class.
Definitely.
Constructive criticism is the best.
That's right. That's right.
So I was wondering if you could talk to us about Strong Happy Sons and Strong Happy Family.
Sure. So Strong Happy Family came first, and I'm a mom of 10 kids.
Oh wow!
And
that's a lot.
it is a lot, and it was really my full-time job and really my calling. It was something I loved to do. And as some of my kids were getting older, I'd get asked to speak often at moms groups or bigger events, and people would want me to tell my story and just give advice about how do you raise a family, how do you feed 12 people a day, how do you get laundry done, how do you teach children to obey, all these things. And whenever I was done speaking, people would say, oh, you should really write a book. And I thought, oh, right, I'm never going to write a book. And about 5 years ago, my father-in-law with Alzheimer's moved in with us, and I found myself kind of tethered to the home. I wasn't really able to get out very much. So I thought, maybe this is the time I should sit down and write a book. And so that's what I did. So this is a book about raising a big family with maybe advice and suggestions for people who have a smaller family. And then, of course, if you look carefully at the picture, you'll see that many of these children of mine are boys. Of my 10 kids, 8 of them are sons.
Oh, wow.
And so I thought, well, let me write just a particular book about raising boys. And I think a lot of moms struggle with raising boys because they're not boys. So they're not familiar with how guys think. And so this is a book to help moms understand the male mind, at least the young male mind.
Yeah, that would help. There's so many moments where I want my mom to be like, can you be on the same page with me?
Right, you're like a girl, Mom.
I'm not a girl. Just be on my side for once.
Right, see the world through my eyes. So the book is an attempt to do that.
Well, we're going to have to wrap it up for now.
Very good.
Thank you for watching Talk the Talk. We'll be back after the break.